So, hi guys. Let's start our trading stream today. Let's start it according to tradition already with our indicator. So now just a second, I'll turn off the fans so they don't interfere with you. That's it. Let's figure out how our strategy works, which has a 99% win rate, is close to 100% for a long time. If you follow all the rules of the strategy, do not violate RAP, and know how to use your knowledge, which you will receive by undergoing our weekly or full training. We have two main indicators, Mexc pump and dump, and Bybit pump and dump. Here we use only pump signals, that is, indicators are sent to the coin that is being pumped, we analyze it. So I guess the demo didn't turn on. Now, guys, the demonstration has not turned on for the Telegram channel. That's it. It should be visible now. We work only with spam signals, we analyze the coin, we look for levels, we look for zones. To learn how to find levels and zones correctly, I advise you to go through our weekly training, where you will learn how to use levels in just a couple of lessons, how to enter, where to average, and, due to this, take profit. "99 coins that we list, 99% of the coins that we list on exchanges such as Mexc, Bybit, Binance's, tend to roll away because there are rarely very fundamental coins that always show themselves well for a long time, that is, an ever-growing trend. As a rule it is 1% coins, even much less than such a percentage, which is very difficult to catch. For example, of the last bright cases, it was a coin here and Mubarak, who were heavily pampered for the leaves, were on Binance futures. Now on the clock, I will show you how. For example, I got stuck here, I rolled away here on the Binance, as you can see. Here we had a listing. Here they gave an announcement that the coin was sold on the Binance exchange. This is her, so to speak, last opportunity to be realized somehow, that is. This was the final stage when the coin was listed on futures. As we can see, when all the activity disappeared, the coin was rolling. But here the pencil case decided to create a vote for a spot listing. Because of this, we had such a pretty strong impulse here. That is a coin. The coin has completed its final stage of development. After the vote, if I'm not mistaken, she did not pass the vote, she was rolled up, and as you can see now, the coin is at pretty low values. By the way, we even have a pretty interesting stack here, so by chance, if suddenly someone wants to, you can try to work out. You can put such interesting information somewhere in a notebook there. Here we have a resistance zone, and here we have a level that, after breaking through, perhaps a coin will come here. And it will be possible to work out. 18 to 19% of the coins are still to go from this zone. So, a small review on Privatka. We have an informer section where I report all streams. Let me remind you that I recently posted a stream schedule. Today we have the first stream this week, the next stream is on Thursday, next Friday, and the last one will be on Saturday. If the time suddenly changes, I will inform you about it. Also, earnings without investments are not published in the Informer as often as, for example, in this channel. To join this channel, you will need to follow this link, submit an application, and then you will get into this channel. And what kind of practical jokes are these? These are free sweepstakes for very simple actions. You just need to subscribe to the Telegram channel. For example, I haven't joined yet. You click on the link. Click Submit an application, and then take this screenshot of what the coin is. That you have joined the Telegram channel, and go, click here, and send a screenshot that you have joined. It is absolutely necessary to make it clear that your application for membership has been accepted. This will indicate that you have just joined the channel. We also have repeat channels, so if you are already in this channel, you exit it and go back to this link from the post. And send me a screenshot on's help. Next, we have a section in Privatko where to start. It describes in detail what indicators we have, how, what they do, what they send, what signals they send. We also have instructions that you must definitely read. Here is a brief description of the strategy, which must be read very carefully. In short, we use only the cross margin for beginners, the 20th shoulder, if you are already more experienced. Then the 50th shoulder can be used. When you start trading, I advise you to start $5,100, have made X2, have withdrawn the body, that is. If you have made $100, then you have made X to $200. You have withdrawn $100 left on the deposit, and with these $100 you disperse your deposit again. Thereby you keep your initial deposit, you give yourself the opportunity to return to the system in case of an error, so that your mistake minus does not affect you morally. In other words, it is always necessary to withdraw some profit. This is mandatory. Then risk management. We have a maximum of 0.5% of the deposit. Also, the first entry we have about 0.1, 0.3. The minimum daily volume is 2.5 million. The maximum daily volume is 10 million. Our financing rate should be at least minus 1%. That is, if the financing rate is minus 1 or minus 0.9. Then we are skipping such a coin, because what is the financing rate? This is when, after the timer expires, for example, we have a financing rate of minus 2%. You have opened a position, the timer expires, and, for example, in your transaction, the transaction amount is $100, then the exchange writes 2% from you, that is, this 2 will be written off. That is, these percentages are counted from the transaction amount. As a rule, when we have a negative financing rate, the coin will creep up, and for example, one of the brightest examples will be the Lie coin, which, due to this financing rate, grew up for quite a long time, and showed, if I'm not mistaken, about 400% at the peak. Here we had a constant financing rate of 300%. The constant funding rate was negative, it was about minus 3%. The longs made money from it. People came in, made money on it at the expense of the timer, and even at the expense of this bump they earned. Then everything is according to the strategy. Just one more nuance, that I advise you to open 2 or 3 deals at most. I do not advise spraying. If you are stuck in some coin, then it's better to sit it out. As a rule, all coins are rolled away. This is, well, usually unavoidable. Even such strong projects as Mubarak, by the way, we have Mem Cohen, and such a coin as here after strong pumps roll away. Even though they were climbed on the Binance. As you have seen, they are rolling away. Then we have a general chat, where all the guys communicate with us. The guys are all very friendly, very strong community, everyone helps each other, very friendly community, we support each other. So if you have any questions, you can write your question to the general chat. Either I or one of the guys will answer it, they will definitely help you, your question there will obviously be no unanswered answer. Especially if you have some kind of negative deal there, or I will react to it, I will help you, or the guys. Then we have your BNL section. Our guys send PNL here. Be sure to share your sticks, because they motivate both the team and the community to develop and encourage everyone. Then we have the listings section. Here I publish the coins that will be listed. For example, now, if I'm not mistaken, the Zora coin has not yet been flipped. The expected listing, if I'm not mistaken, will be at 1600 in Moscow. Let's check it out now. And also recently, we had a hyper coin yesterday, which was listed on Mexc and on WEEX, if I'm not mistaken. It is also present. Our guys also earned money on it yesterday. Then we have a zone of the zone 4 entering the short, and as a rule, I leave limits here, which are limits or give a signal that a coin can be taken short. Here absolutely all the coins that were sent were worked out, that is, the wine raid is 100%. Also, if you want to get a lot more, then so now, just a second guys. A small technical problem. That's it. We also have a group trading from scratch, where we have a marathon. Here I regularly give out stages according to our Mexc and Bybit indicator, independently analyze the coin, give a signal here, which you can safely go in and earn. If you join this Telegram channel, you can click on the Tech Marathon and view absolutely all transactions. And you will see that we do not have any negative ones from the stage. All absolutely positive Nelke, somewhere 100%, somewhere 400 and 300%, somewhere even here. We used to take 600% for a deal. To join this Telegram channel, you will need to write to me on the help of all referrals Bybit, Mexc, WEEX I add. Now I'm going to send a link to the general chat. Right, I will definitely add all referrals. Also, we have this Telegram channel sent to our group Daily Bitcoin Reviews, which are done by Andri, who work out perfectly. Also, in addition to the review of Bitcoin, Ethereum, here we also have Andri given stages on highly liquid coins, which also work very well and bring decent, so to speak, significant profit. How these transactions work out, you can also find in this Telegram channel an analysis of coins where Andri tells how he did 2010 or 15 minutes, and, if I'm wrong, he earned 5,000. Also, if you want to learn how to independently analyze not only low liquid coins, that is, trade on mega pump and dump, and Bybit pump and dump, but also highly liquid coins such as Excerpt, then I advise you to undergo a lot of training. And if you want to undergo a little training, that is, learn to trade only on Mexc pump indicators and dump and Bybit pump and dump, then I advise you to take a week's training, where you will learn how to trade plus on these indicators in a couple of lessons, and use them as effectively as possible. So, let's move on to trading. I'll probably take it to the left screen. No, I'd rather leave our indicator here. I'll answer your questions. We also collect coins. Neuro Ethereum. I just pinched it now because of. Yes, because of the turnover. That's just the same Daniel wrote that he sees the turnover. Well, let me analyze it. Let's take a look, but here it will be very necessary to enter carefully with Willow. If you really want to go. So we don't have a schedule anymore. Apparently VIX recently climbed it, so we'll quickly switch to Mexc now and analyze it here. We have a coin in the resistance zone came, the maximum where I think it will reach is this level we will collect. By the way, a very good zone. Thank you for Daniel highlighting. This area looks very good. This is the level you have collected. This level has been collected. I think if the coin does not collect this level, then it is likely that it will block this imbalance, which it could not block. In order to find out whether the balance is blocked or not, and in general, by Fibonacci, you need to click twice on Fibonacci with the left mouse, go to the style. Remove the checkboxes, leave only at 0, 0, 5, and 1. This is how we find the balance, that is, at about half of this balance, it will be possible to enter approximately, which will be the entry point, and the coin is not very far away in 10%, so I suggest opening it carefully on VIX. I'll go too. So I have a deposit of $810, so I want to go for a little less than $0.5. Let's go 100 initially, 150. But the graph scrolled or not, it seemed to me. These two levels, which I was talking about, are present here. Let's see. I suggest checking the news indicator. We have a new SEC chairman. Paul Watkins stated that his main goal in office will be to provide a rational, consistent, and principled regulatory framework for digital assets. He also promised to work to make the United States the safest and most favorable place in the world for crypto-related activities. By the way, it's possible that Nary Hash got stuck because of this. Due to this news, of course, it is not a fact, but as one of the reasons, it is quite likely. By the way, I didn't really go in for a minute and didn't notice. Okay, it's okay. If anything, I can accept a small loss. Here we have Ruslan doing 600% on troll sauce, well done. Baba Fi is being pampered here. Let's take a look at him. If I'm not mistaken, then there are weak candle rollers. Weak candles, this means that the coin is not very volatile on the minute frame there, that is, such a large candle. And only 2%, so we are unlikely to see any strong movement here. By the way, they are approaching the resistance zone for me, she is already in it. This is the zone we have. Perhaps the coin will now collect levels from us, and it can also be assumed that it will overlap this imbalance, which is not blocked. But by the way, it was half almost blocked, so you will need to rely more on the level. Let's take a look. She just broke through this level. We also have this level on one frame. By the way, she didn't break through to the level. If I'm not mistaken, but she didn't break through. So, Vika is lagging with her own as always. And, by the way, we have a couple of hash plus, I didn't notice. I suggest, by the way, to fix it, because the entrance wasn't even there very much. Well, something VIX postpone. That's it, they closed it. That's it, the first deal has gone. 76% was taken away. If it wasn't for lag, it would have been more than 100. So, if you guys don't mind, if this is how it will be, then I will close transactions from the phone, so I put the phone in my room. If someone sees something somewhere, turn on the microphone, highlight me, then you can help me here. We have guys here in Privatka can turn on microphones. So let's take a look at the tickle. The guys have a minus here. Let's see what their mistake was there. 0 bro man us. The man painted it for us. So, now let's read it quickly and analyze the gray bro if it's not hard for the guys from Privatka. You can highlight the coins there that are interesting with the stage, while I'm here helping you deal with your negative transactions. Everyone has access to the microphone. Just turn it on and you can talk. Who is from the computer? Turn on the microphone here. You need to click here. Hash panel, almost identical sticks. Well done Nikita and Vova, took 160 116% each. Handsome. Let's disassemble the silver. We will also graphically watch it. I will immediately note that we had levels here on the day. 2 levels were close together. The third was still not far away. Because of this there was a strong impulse. Here is another level standing in the distance. This is a stabbed level, plus overlap and balance. You can also draw it here, by the way it coincides with the level, almost coincides with the level. It would be a good entry point by the way. 5% could be taken away, perhaps even more. So, the graphic as a whole is clear, the resistance zone on the day, which by the way almost perfectly touched. Now I drew my personal border a little incorrectly. She almost reached the resistance zone, a little earlier she reacted to me. So, you found the levels on Nevka, averaged at the levels with the 20th shoulder, a deposit of 500, that is, there is a little more than 1 March, here a little more than 2 understood. Let's take your entry point. Most likely it's quite technical there you turned out, right? Yeah. Let's see what levels I found there at the clock time, which probably misled you most likely. Let's say somewhere here the coin has started to pump, that is, I don't see anything happening there yet at the top. Someone said, close the right side of the chart. Graphics so that I don't see what was going on. I'll do that. I don't know, of course, what will change. The first level is old, it was possible to mark this one, but it is so dubious. Plus, if I were considering it, I would look at this zone, while waiting for this zone to be stabbed. Because there are levels to the upper limit of resistance at close range, these are the levels we have. So, I don't look at the right side, what was going on there? So, let's go a little to the left, there are more interesting pictures by zones. By zone. That's where I would start drawing the zone from. By the way, it would already be more significant. Then, we will look from these zones to see if it was possible to collect profit. Oh. Here is from my reasoning logic. Here I would underestimate them due to the fact that the more significant resistance zone on the hourly is quite close at that time. It is quite likely that due to the collection of these levels, I could come here and give some kind of reaction. Let's keep looking. The hour frame is hours, and that's it, so we marked these levels on the day, but there is another resistance zone by the way. There are a lot of coin zones. Here is another resistance zone on the hourly time frame, and it would be possible to enter this zone here only after breaking through these three levels. I have marked this zone correctly as a whole and moved the balance. If any coin or further coin goes higher, if I'm not mistaken, she has 150-something million traded. But 164 did not pay attention. The rate, by the way, financing is normal. We have another zone, but it is, to be honest, questionable, not as interesting, like this one, for example. For some reason, I like this zone the most. Here, by the way, there is also one zone at the very top. Here it is. Oh, this is a beautiful zone in general. Ideally, wait for her. So this level can also be marked, and a coin, by the way, can stab the upper border here. I think we will clearly see the first reaction from the lower border. I don't know how strong she will be there. That's it. Now we look. We are extending all the zones so that we can see them on the lower time frames, because our watchmaker is still open. So here I made to narrow a zone. That's the right thing to do. Op. Here, even on the watch, I see that this zone has been working out. I think now there is an innovation. Let's move on in even more detail. See you, let's go. I think we can start with a minute, so that every movement can be considered and seen. Here is the first zone. Just below we will look at the zones. So, if I'm not mistaken, I said about this resistance zone that the upper limit will be stabbed. If I'm hiding the source, well, I'm saying my words incorrectly. What I said a couple of minutes ago, correct me. Because I kind of said here that the levels would break through and the coin would only roll in later. As we can see, the coin broke through the levels. By the way, the lower border worked out again. So there were several movements that could be taken away. By the way, the coin is not very volatile, because it is such a big candle, and the percentage is only. But there is still a reaction from the lower border. All the first movement here could be taken away. Then it was possible to sit and wait to break through the levels before returning to the zone. It was possible to pull exactly. That is, approximately take away 4%. At the peak, it was quite decently possible to take 10%, and if according to Fibonacci could still be stretched. It was possible to reach here for sure. If we were just a little below 0.5 when we fell, we met about a trader here. Then we go. The coin has collected levels here. By the way, it is interesting to collect them at the level it stabs them, trades them a little, and goes for a small correction. Then again, the resistance zone worked out for us, which I noted, that is, we would have to suffer a little there. But still the fact of the zone worked out. If you went to the lower border, then by some miracle a candle would have saved you by 3 and 7%. And if you pulled, if there was such an opportunity to pull, then 7%. Again, by the way, here the zone has worked again. Again it is visible resistance here. This is a coin. You see how perfectly it unfolded from the lower border here all the time. So, then we have an impulsive breakout of the level, and here we are again entering the resistance zone. Again, I would have to be patient because of the lower limit. 3 and 6% could be taken away, but if I'm not mistaken, I generally said that it would be necessary to wait to break through these levels. Yes, the impulsive coin punched them. It would probably be impossible to close anywhere here. Let's say we would have an entry point here, that is, we would have to average further. We will look, because if I went in, I would probably get there, because this is the analysis I would have. We look further. This is a resistance zone. It did not reach, but it broke through the level. Perhaps with the second or third scum, I would have already averaged it. Of course, I can't say for sure, but I probably averaged it psychologically just below the resistance zone. So we average it by an equal amount and get a new entry point, to which the price is still up. But no, it reached or did not reach. Now we will find out. No, it did not reach. That is, there was a coin very close by. That is, extremely. Well, there is a small minus here. It was possible to go out by the way. Because here you can highlight the proto-trading before the last impulse, so strong is quite a coin here with us. And here it accumulated strength with us. That is, you could say a support zone, which was some kind of resistance zone locally. You could highlight it illuminated I worked here, that is, or I would have been sitting here earlier now. I would have taken a small loss unequivocally. Yes, funding is normal there, and even now you are completely right, that if you see that you have a terrible entry point. Here's an example of me with it, and the hash said that my entry point turned out to be bad, so I said if there is a minus, then we will skip it. But she brought us a plus, to our surprise. I hope, Sergey, you understand what the mistakes are. Mistakes were made by Cato. Let's go. That's it, everyone managed to join. They drove Cato to watch. If I'm not mistaken, when I traded it, one was quite so volatile. I immediately see a turnover of 700,000, which is not enough in Ukraine, and it is quite dangerous to enter such a coin. In the resistance zone here, you can immediately mark which coin did not reach. So, we had a coin collecting levels on the watch, it can be seen. So now I'm going to return the blue back quickly, so that it's more familiar. Once. Yes, there are many reasons not to go into this. I don't even understand why I'm analyzing, because well, on the hourly frame, that is, the senior frame, this is how the candles look. But that is, the coin here, roughly speaking, went in the same range for 2 days. Well, it's very terrible, plus low revs, which is also very bad. That is, well, plus, I think there was no understated RAM at all for Mexc. So there are already a lot of mistakes a person has made. If you go into several types, then at least from the resistance probe. Yes, I had a lot of dump recently. Oh well, in general very much. Holy shit. We have this coin rolled away, it is still on a strongly exchangeable course. I have repeatedly said that you need to be more careful with coins that have been heavily doused, that is, they are on a strong bottom. You need to be more careful with them. Yes, there will definitely be a record. Let's go. We won't hire a dock. We'll probably skip the pump, because we have 13 lambs for the mix, if I'm not mistaken. We have it on BB. And we have a pump today, as strange as it may sound. By the way, it was also dumped into the Protergovka. We have received this reaction. Here we had consolidation, the coin was gaining strength and gave a pump. An interesting coin, by the way, it can first get stampy, then get very stampy. Interesting. Let's take a look at what Foxy is sending us. I saw it there. Victor probably worked out this signal, right? Most likely, yes. Congratulations. If someone has any questions, do not hesitate to write or chat, or turn on the microphone. Now let's take a look on YouTube if there are any questions. So they ask you to watch Max on YouTube. Let's take a look now. Max, you see, 23 million. It's bad enough that 23 million, because we have a threshold of 10 million. With my son's RAM, it's better to trade this, plus I don't like it at 4 o'clock. These are 10-day either about traders or consolidation. It is very difficult to name them, of course, because the coin has such a character or sharp movements, or it stands for several days, which is not very good. Even if you enter it, we immediately mark this zone. A little later, I accelerated something. According to these candles, I don't see them now. That's it. Here we had a breakdown of the lower border. Most likely the liquidity was first collected, the reaction, and then rolled away. That is, we have it drawn correctly. Here, in general, it was possible to enter. In an understated room, it was possible to take 30% according to the schedule. This is 1,500 PNL. That is, 15 sexes to the margin. But I don't like the graph, to be honest. That's how I say it. It either moves sideways here, or with sharp movements. They ask us to analyze the notes. Let's go by the notes. We have a slope here, by the way, which I noted a long time ago. Perhaps he will show some interesting picture. Not a fact, of course, but you can watch whether the coin will show a trend change. Vitali on YouTube asks the question, do you use hedging in trading? If so, tell us exactly how. No, we don't use it. Personally, I only trade short on the Bybit and Mexc indicator, pump and dump. In long, I only trade on R. According to Scalping, that is, what Andri teaches. If you are interested, then I can drop a contact after the stream where you can write. According to the note, the sun is resistance. Here is a coin in the emphasis, by the way. I think if she successfully manages to break through this resistance zone, of course, it is quite likely that there will be some kind of first reaction, then the coin is still temporary. Maybe they will get a trend change. And I think if it was constantly visited by chartles here, then what? Some interesting slant. I'll take a look. No, this is a bad inclination. This is still a yellow one, which we have noted for a very, very long time. More meaningful and correct. Therefore, if our snot breaks through this resistance zone calmly, it is likely that we will see good movements along it. There is a possibility, especially if we have a growing Bitcoin there, the dominance will slowly fall. Who doesn't know, if we have a Bitcoin dominance falling, it means that our funds are pouring into the alt of Bitcoin. So, we have such an interesting resistance here from above, that is, from the current price, when this local resistance breaks through. Maybe we need to get from here, this is 148% to the lower limit. In general, it looks interesting to me, especially after breaking through this incline. Now I think it all depends on the market maker of this coin, whether he decides to collect liquidity there. I suggest that, by the way, on the day it turns out that we have a more interesting zone. Almost the most interesting thing, she's here a little bit not as I would like, but still looks interesting. Here we have a coin flipped after all. So for now, our food will go. It's a pity for Pang. Now let's look at the foam. There are children. Damn, there's a lot of Turk on there. I don't like that there are 22 million in it. And when was the last time it was visited? Oh, by the way, he collected the levels here, which we noted on the last stream. Is there anyone who has worked? Here, after breaking through the upper limit, you could take at least 25%, 24. And here you could take 45% at the peak. What I analyze on streams, you can generally take screenshots or then watch it in the recording, redraw it for yourself. Oh? I think these zones are likely to be wrong, and somehow there are too many of them. Of course, I'm not stating the fact that this is wrong, but now we're going to find out right wrong. The guys on YouTube can also write coins, even we will watch them. 40%. Not a broken level from anger. So, while I don't like the day, there is already a broken level at 4 o'clock. This level is broken. Now I will mark it in red, but at the same time, there is a new level. That may well help either in the near future or in the future to break through this level. I would like to find a resistance zone on it. One coin goes by the way, so you need to work with it more carefully here. If we see some strong movement, then we have such a zone. You can also fix it for yourself. Then in the comments we have in trading from scratch or in private to share your results. In the Zera ladder, if we get there in time, because we won't have a very long stream today, we'll trade for another 30 minutes. We won't have time, 16, 15 in Moscow. And not 16. 15 will be just the same in Moscow. Everything is right. We need to look at VIXI. Well, let's see. So, Zora's ticker. And we'll come back to Peng, don't worry. So while there is no on VIX, okay. So you can mark this zone for the future, but it's far away, but still 200% of us give coins. The financing rate is normal, the turnover of 20 million is already bad. If you came in when you were above 20 million, above 10 million, I'm sorry, then this was the first mistake. It was possible, by the way, to find such a resistance zone. That's why I didn't notice it right away. I don't stumble much. By the way, perhaps because of her, the coin stopped before this level, because here it received support. Here the coin, when it began to pour, it also received support here, but this support could not stand. And the coin flew 24% down. And then here we have it in the Protorgovka, the coin stood up here, that is, an interesting zone after all. This coin is now here in the bargain got up. If you go into this zone, then you could safely take the profit clearly. Entry point. How? Oh, that's it, I get it. You wrote your equation first. They push and after breaking through the levels they wanted to. But it's like you came in a little late, probably because there seemed to be reactions. In other words, I won't say that the entry point is bad. The question, why wasn't it closed? Even if you came down after breaking through this level, that is, the coin breaks through here. Let's take a look for a minute. The mark is 592. On a minute time frame, that's even despite the fact that 20 million coins somehow look bad. Perhaps they have collected liquidity, that is, the candles on the minute there are terrible times, they give me a call right away. I would not come here. This is where it was necessary to go approximately. And I was talking at the beginning of Elena's stream. Elena's question is at what 24-hour turnover is it better to consider a coin? For beginners from 2.5 to 10, if you already understand that you can work from 1 million daily turnover, you can consider them. So let's take a look at Vixie. Has there been a hurrah or not? And the indicator to look out. We have silver again, pumping turbo, 140 million, 2. I don't want to go in, there are too many chill guy. So she has 17 lambs. It's interesting, let's take a look now. I'm interested in taking a look at Zora. Whether it appeared on our fix. But it should appear because the promo company of the shame VIX has. So why did Vladislav throw it off? I won't be able to listen to anything on the screen. Where is the screen? I may have missed it somewhere, but this screen, that's it. Something I didn't notice here. So let me show you my analysis anyway, because I personally don't understand what kind of zones you have drawn. There are too many of them, because I personally found these levels in the local one. You went below. Where the entry point is the first 553, that is, somewhere here. Well, the first mistake is clearly that the graph looks ragged. So Zora appeared on Mexc. I would like it to appear here as well. On WEEX. Let's try like this. He doesn't want to hide it. Moreover, for something about pairs, he is gnawing. No, right away until Bitcoin covers. Okay, we're waiting for now. No, he doesn't want to, okay. But if the entry point was below these levels, then I personally don't understand why you came here. That is, I personally noticed this level, but perhaps you have also noted this one. I'm just guessing right now. Maybe this one? I would not have marked this level yet. I mean, well, it's a bit of a wrong level. If you want to learn how to draw the right level, draw and find them to work it out properly. Here WEEX used to put coins earlier than Mexc for 10 minutes, so exactly. He doesn't want to do anything right now. Oh, there is. We got to the first pores. Let's go for the 50th shoulder and for $100, for 2 marches, respectively. That's it, they opened it. If I'm not mistaken, then I shouldn't be on Mexc yet. Yes, another 8 minutes, and we're already in. That's it. WEEX, I'm sorry, the listing happened earlier. It remains to see the lady's rocket. I think, plus or minus, you can wait for the listing first. So, about the liquidation, Larissa, I'll tell you. Absolutely. According to DrunkGo, I can conclude that you most likely had the wrong ones there. Wrong entry point, wrong levels. I understand that the levels are old, these are from above, but I was talking about the lower levels. In other words, I am not satisfied with your first entry point. I don't understand. If you can, describe why. Reasons. By the way, there is already 340% of the view there. If anything, I'll probably fix it from my phone, if you don't mind, of course. I'll send you a ping now. Thesis. Oh. A form on how to answer such questions, because for me personally, there is very little water, and it is very difficult to understand. Zebro. Yes, Sergey, I looked. There I exactly disassembled the Zebro in very, very detail. I advise you to reconsider. There, at the request of a person, I closed the right side of the graph and analyzed it. That's 1,000%. Pay attention, how much are we in the deal? Well, a couple of minutes. Everything, like, in 3 minutes, 26% is almost 25 plus 1,200%. And this is an understated REM. And most importantly, Mexc has not yet climbed the coin, and we are already in it and taking profit here. You know, I'll remind myself what I wrote there. If anyone wants to join us in private, to such a good community, where we have regular streams, such information is given. Which is quite useful, plus use these indicators, which bring huge profits, then right. There will be a link in the description, and you can write to any manager or two in the help, that is, you can write here. I'll tell you where it's best to write, or you can immediately find a link to a manager who will tell you how to get to us in private. I would have waited for the listing on Mexc.
Hello everyone, Kalya, please throw off the panel.
Now. And we are. And we're not right now.
Now.
And we didn't register.
Well, what is there at the moment so far?
Come on. Oh, the whole coin, we have decided to roll back. Yes, there will be a recording, Sergey. We are waiting. And if I'm not mistaken, we had a network now, for a second. The network, we probably have a movie base. Search. Now I'm going to see if it's possible to add the list that we published different tomorrow. We're already in the short. And there. No, Tamara's here. We opened Zora. So, yeah. Add a wallet. Done? Aha, so now we'll add 19 to the first one. Yeah, I get it, I'll have to add a subscription. Yes, we went to the Vic tomorrow, because I have climbed so much now. 0.3166. We have a higher VIX difference at the moment. No, I have equaled VIX, we look and wait. There are no interesting stages yet. It's best for Mavia to creak, they're too Pabit, if I'm not mistaken, she should have decent turns. Wow, it's beautiful under the candle. So on VIX, I will, if anything, fix it with my hands. Hands and with the phone, because there is clearly going to be a Podlegivit X. Olya, show me the VIX. Yes, he's going to lag hard now because of the glass. That's it, legal. The Zascreen channel. I think we'll just sit a little longer. I'll definitely fix 50%. So I'll fix 50%. And I'll put everything in a plus stop. Here is a person who came in with us, and apparently twice, because there are different entry points. Twice a person earned. The first time, 540%. The second time, 214. Cool. Congratulations. So, what do we have on Mexc? There are no 3 llamas already. Yes, even because of the stops, this is a plus, so it will clearly not be visible here. Strange is this error. Maybe, I don't know, the minimum amount was not the same. It's strange, usually he writes this when it goes to me before listing, so now I'll check the YouTube comments. Am I cherishing Cohen's fort? Previously, yes, now I have stopped trading on it. This is both Nalingoval and Shardle. On Mexc, I didn't open a position at all due to the fact that VIX had opened a position earlier. In other words, it is possible to open coins here earlier. By the way, the signal passed through paradise there. You can see what's going on there while we're hanging out on the minute time there. I don't like candles. Right now. This is an interesting area in paradise, but at the same time, there are levels that can even be drawn in this way. So I have an old one, which by the way I worked out once. We still have a new zone for the future. By the way, I don't see any more levels. The coins are right at a strong bottom right now. So we have an AI signal coming. Let's take a look. So I can't find it. Ah, this is how we will do it on prompt. The signal has also come. We will need to take a look. The rate is normal. The turnovers are also 3.5, as if they came to the zone, and there is also a zone on top. The entry point is generally interesting. Now let's see if we have it on WEEX. I would open it carefully on an understated RAM, because the coin is still going to the bottom. So I didn't take it completely. Well, okay, let's not bark. We have received a signal of 3.5 million. Probably we will not go in yet. We are working out. Damn, we almost didn't get into position, unfortunately. Damn, it was such a good car entrance. It would be. Therefore, it is pointless to hold a coin. Damn, it's a pity that the plus was taken away as a whole, but unfortunately the limit was not filled with 46%. All right. So, now we will slowly finish the stream. I will continue to keep Zora. I think it will be possible to wait for the brand and drop there. I think we can leave it at that. If anyone has any questions, right, I will definitely answer them. That's it. Thanks to everyone who came. Have a good evening, everyone. Goodbye to everyone.